Hashtag the GES crew.
This brings me to, I guess, our next and last question. How did your king or queen treat you when you began to fall in love with them? When you knew that you were falling in love, how did that person treat you? That's a good one.
How they treated you?
Yeah, like this is just, so let's say for your wife, when you began to fall in love with her, how did she treat you before she was your wife? Like when you were in that stage where you're falling in love with this person, what were they doing that caused you to fall in love with them?
Oh, that's a deep question right there. So it's because I think for me it causes me to go back to prior to us being married. But also for me it's something about love was described from how my parents were. So it was like that partnership aspect. So I think as I've gotten older, what I look at as what love is has changed. So I think my wife has been the same from the time I dated to now. It's like where, she's matured. So, was there any particular difference? No. Did I expect there to be a difference? Yes, after marriage. I did expect there to be something different after marriage. So, don't know why. That's, I don't know if it's one of those things to where it's, well, I guess I do know why. I think it's the premise where, and not to generalize all Black women or anything like this, like, oh, well, we do this stuff when we get married, or this is what we are when we get married, or this is how we lose our representative when we get married, And it's like, because then that's the point of which we trust you. Where my philosophy now is like, now that has to happen before. That has to completely happen because, by the time marriage happens, the person that you got is the person that you got. That is the likelihood that they change is very, very low. It's a switch doesn't happen. So, my wife is the same when she before to after. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Not really. Like, what did she do? Like, when you knew that, okay, you're like, oh my God, I'm falling in love with this woman. What was she doing? Not saying that she did anything to force that or make that happen, but what was going on? What was she doing at that point that made you feel like a king like that,
So can I put a spin on that question for you? And I always ask married men this. What in your wife made you realize this is who I want for the rest of my life? Was it something she did? What did she do that made you feel like this is going to be Mrs. Hezekiah? Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't remember your last name. Carter. This is who God created for me. What was it? Was it something she did? Was it the way she catered to you? Was it the way what about her made you realize you wanted what you saw your friends talking about? The going to get my wife, I'm going to do this. And what in that relationship flip the switch, turn the light on?
Because men know. Like there's something that changes. Yeah.
Well, what turned the switch on for me was that one, being around males that actually talked about marriage, made me want to get married. First of all. Secondly, is that I love my wife, and so it was because there was somebody I was with that I loved, and then that now I wanted to get married because coincidentally at the point in time I could have gotten married before, earlier, or whatever the case might be. It's just that, and I've loved people that maybe I want to spend my whole life with, but it was never to a point to where it's like I wanted to get married, because I didn't understand the benefits of marriage at the time. I mean, it's like I didn't know about it. I mean, but once I saw the males being around black males that talked about it, it made me want to get married. And so it made me want.
So I get that. I want that nugget though. Like, so I know your homeboys made you feel like you wanted a piece of that pie. What made you know Mrs. Carter was the pie that you wanted to slice for the rest of your life? Like, what made you know you needed to have her in your corner? You needed to have her hand. Like, what about her was it that the way that you told her what you liked and she made sure it happened? Was it the way she, like, what about her? Was it like, you know what I'm saying? Because something about her had to be like, yeah, this the one. Like, I don't know if you went and told your mom, your dad. What was it about her that made you say, this is the lady I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with?
Yes.
That's a big question. I mean, it was, and I would say more for males, it's and not to lessen the impact of the female, because I mean, as we love somebody, we look at it as a partnership, right? So it's the male has to be ready to get married, to get married. So I mean, it's so the thing is that they could have everything that you want in a wife and everything I mean, she could do, like, you can ask every black male to make a list of everything that they want in a wife. And they could find a woman that gives them every single part of that. But if they don't want to get married, they won't get married. So, I mean, and it's not, I mean, and it's not to diminish the fact of what the woman is doing. It's about where that person's life, that male is at. Because, I mean, it's like, for me, that's how it happened for me. It's like, I love my wife. I mean, she, would I say that she did anything particularly
what made her different from the others?
She was, I loved her. So, I mean, the fact is like, that's what made her different. I mean, it's like, I fell in love with her. So, I mean.
What did you love about her? So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. And I'm going somewhere with this because let me tell you, I believe in real love, and I'm a sucker for love and a true love story. So I have a family member, and they been married for about 24 years. And this guy he had dropped out of school, didn't really know what to do, where to go. He was dating my cousin. And she said they had been dating for a while, probably about 2 years. She was still in high school, and he just was at a point he didn't know what to do with his life. And so he met a recruiter, and he just didn't know what to do with his life. And he didn't know where to go because at school they told him, like, this ain't for you. You're wasting your time. You're wasting. So he was at a point where he didn't know where he was going, what he should do. So the recruiter said some stuff that stuck out to him. He went and told my cousin, and she said, whatever you choose, I'll support you. He said in that moment, he knew this was the one for him because nobody in his life had ever told him, I'll support you. People had always told him what he did that was wrong, what he did that was what he couldn't do. Nobody ever told him that I support. He's like, and the fact that she told me, I support you, I believe in you, was all that he needed. So I was looking for like whatever that wow moment. Like I'm a sucker for that wow moment. So what he did was, he said he went back and talked to the recruiter, he joined, and he came back, and in that, like, this was the next day, he told her, I don't have anything to offer you but my last name. But if you ride this thing out with me, I promise you, you won't want for anything in this world. And I promise you, it's one of the few people that I can say this dude stood by that and has honored that. But when I asked him, I was like, so what made you feel? And I asked everybody that. If you give me your E and you marry, I'm asking because I'm single. I want to know. I'm out here learning. I'm still in the school of hard knocks. So I'm asking because it's important to me. I'm like, so what made you, like, what was it that and then I'm gonna tie my response into this because he said that he had never, not his mom, not his dad, not his aunties, grandma, nobody had ever told him they believed in him and supported him. Now he knew he loved her before then, but that was that's what sealed the package. The fact that she verbalized, I believe in you and I support you. Whatever you decide, I'm here with you. And that was what sealed the deal for him. So I was just looking for like, okay, I know you love her, but what did you love about it? And I say that because I had, I'm gonna get, you want to answer?
Yeah. Okay, so now that does remind me. Me and her had this conversation, and it was probably one of these moments where it's just we're talking about something, and it talked about a child, about wanting to help with a child and stuff like that, and it was kind of like I'll support you. It was kind of like one of the points. I mean, it was actually a turning point in our relationship because we had this conversation, and it was like, okay, well, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Never really talked to anybody about this, and it was like, and she listened. She was supportive of that situation, and I was like, okay, that was the turning point where I said, okay, yeah, I can deal with her, or I can be with her for the rest of my life. I mean, there was a conversation. I mean, it's funny, but yeah, there was a conversation just like that, very similar to what you just described, that prompted me to make it look at it more long term than what I was looking at it at the time.
Yeah. So you knew she had your back, and that was solid for you enough to. So I get it, but so thinking back on,
I thought that she did.
Yeah, and true is right. It's true. You still with her. So I that was the answer I was looking for. I just needed to hear. It's just give me something to hold on to is what I was looking for. But when I dated and I felt like I was in love and he was in love with me, I just wanted to be what was missing. Now on the flip side of that, I felt like before I could fix what was broken. That can't be done. So I set myself up in past relationships. I can't fix what's broken. Yeah. I can be what's missing. So I had the last relationship I was in, he explained that he never had the family dynamic. Like my family, once a month we doing a family dinner. He was like, I don't even know what that's like. I can't tell you that I ever ate dinner with my mom and my sisters and brothers at the same time. We never had a game night, this, that, and the third. So I was like, okay, if we make it to that point, I'm gonna include him in some of that. So I did. He'd never been to any of his daughters' like recitals and stuff that like politics. When Barack was running for president, I had connections. He was like, I would really like to meet him. I got us passes to when he came to the amphitheater. I was making sure that I fit in all that he had expressed to me was important to him. Now, in that situation, that was me. Okay, I'm head over heels. I'm in love. And what made me love him was because when we were together, I'm a fanatic for comedy. Like, so if anybody was coming and it was my top five, Martin Lawrence or whomever, we going. Bobby Brown, he know I'm a fan. So he was what I like mattered to him. But how it didn't work is because when I introduced him to my family and the dynamic of having the game nights and the dinners once a week, and okay, we bringing this week, or I'm gonna host it at my house this week, and it became too much for him. It was overwhelming. So I probably should have not done it as soon as I did. Just okay, you did the family dinner, and then maybe months down the line we did, but I just pushed him out there too fast, and it became overwhelming. He felt as though he could never. Later, I learned that he just felt he couldn't measure up to what I had in the family because he never had that. And I was like, no, he was like, I don't have back to be. Everybody gave us Bill Cosby. I didn't have that Heathcliff and Claire Huxtable lifestyle that you have. And I was, who told you that's what we had? You just told me you didn't have a family dinner. You didn't eat with your siblings. So I'm giving you a chance to, but it did not work to benefit of that relationship because it became overwhelming because he was like, I can't fit in into what's your reality because I've never experienced that. I felt like a fish out of water.
He was insecure. It had nothing to do with you.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, it's a lot, right? I mean, we all have our different perspectives about, I mean, family, like in that situation. I mean, it can be overwhelming. I mean, it's like if you have family dinner all the time and a game night and you're around your parents and around your brothers and your sisters, and then you have somebody else that never had that. I mean, it's like never had family night, never even been around, didn't even know his brothers and sisters. And then it's like, it's for him to see that, to be experiencing with that. I mean, could be overwhelming. I don't know if it'd be insecure with that situation.
Yeah, I didn't take it as insecure. I just took it as he wasn't willing to. So I just felt like it shouldn't have been enough to break the relationship because everything else we had was good. So maybe some insecurities did exist. I don't know if it was that. I felt like maybe every time that I invited him to, okay, we did Pollyanna for Christmas, I put your name in the thing, like, and I overstepped my boundaries is what I realized later, because it wasn't my job to expose him to all of that soon. So I felt like maybe every time I did that, I pulled off this scab that was the relationship he had with his family. So maybe he was healing on his own. And when I brought you to, so I took some responsibility for it, not all, because my intent was pure. Right. You told me what was missing, and I don't know what that's like. So we moving towards I'm letting you know that when we're on this level, this is what happens. So I'm introducing you to my family because it's important to me. But I felt like later I saw in hindsight that maybe he wasn't ready for it. And I probably should have, I asked the first time, and then the next time I just assumed that, okay, so now you got it, you want to keep going for it. And they just went along with it. So I think they weren't ready. And I probably kept picking at that scab that was the brokenness from their own familiar structure. And I can tell you around here, and my father's aggressive. You come in here, he ain't never seen you before. He was like, hey, where you come from? Who your team? You know, chump, this, that, and third. This is just how he is. So if you don't know him, it's love. But if you're not ready to receive it, it can be taken the wrong way. If you're not who, if you never had that from your own father or your uncle or something, it can be either like, oh, this disrespectful, or this man crazy, or like, you know. So I can see where he felt like a fish out of water, but.
And he could have communicated that to you. That's where communication comes in. He should have communicated that.
You can give it a pluck from me.
Raven
don't like that.
No, I know where that originates from. So that's why. But I'm not. But what when I felt love for somebody, it developed when I felt that I could trust that person. You know what I mean? When I got to that point where I felt like I can trust them and really, feel like whatever those deeper parts of me that I could share, and the judgment isn't there. That's when I started to feel the love. Another time was when I was able to feel comfortable around that person, really able to see that person is with me, and it's like we together, and it's like, hey, it's not well, I'm gonna go off, do my thing, or I could do all this all the time, whatever. They want to include me in what they have going on. They really want me to see their world and what's going on with them. When I see that, that's when I know that this person is really want to be there, and that's why. And what am I doing? And what I'm doing as well. So those are times where I felt like, okay, well, yeah, this is somewhere I think it can go somewhere. The spanking part, that I was like, okay, I don't know all about that, but hey, but I know where that was coming from. So yeah.
All righty then.
I'll say, just to kind of continue on this idea about the moments that causes people to join together forever, right? Or to join together for some type of long term. One thing I realized is that long term might be 15 years, might be 25 years, might be 60 years. I mean, when I was younger, I used to think long term was till the day I die, right? You know, and then I realized that people grow. So, I mean, people sometimes grow together, sometimes grow apart, and that love changes, gets more mature as we get more mature. So it's people come into your lives during certain moments of your life, and they could be there your whole life. They could be there. I mean, if things match up and y'all move together in the same path and it develops the same way, you know. So, but is it that one moment that is it that one thing that somebody does that causes you to say, okay, well, hey, this is the person in my life for this moment, you know. It could be. I mean, but it's coupled with a lot of different where you're at in your life, what you want in your life. I mean, as far as a male, as far as a female, it's like, am I ready to get married? If I got divorced, am I ready to get remarried? What am I looking for the next stage or my stage in my life? And it all couples around being true to yourself and true to your feelings about what it is. I mean, because we all get married for a different reason. We get married for the security. We get married for that partnership. We get married for the kids. We get married for, we may not get married for all those things because we may not want to share our money, or we may not feel like, somebody wants to do all this stuff. So it's, the biggest thing is about doing what we're doing now. I mean, it's having those, I mean, that communication to where it's like, hey, do you like to be spanked? Yes or no? I mean, do you like hot wings? I mean, it's like, do you like the Miami Heat? I mean, if it's because they beat San Antonio and you don't want them, I mean, you hate them for the rest of your life. It's like, okay, is that a deal breaker? I mean, in the corner. I mean, but you know, maybe you have some bad feelings about that, you know. But it's about having those conversations and being able to show yourself to somebody, that somebody else can be accepting of it, you know. Because I think that's where we all want to. At least for me, I just want to be accepted. I want to be accepted, and I want to be able to accept 90%, 80% of you, you know. I mean, it'd be nice to accept 100% of you, but hey, we're human beings. I mean, there's going to be some things that, I mean, hey, maybe you don't put an egg on my peanut butter. I mean, it's right. Like, but you do something else. But it's understanding what matters and having those conversations about that. Because people have gotten married for much less. People have gotten married for, I mean, hey, we about to have a baby, we're gonna get married. Right. Or we're gonna get married because, hey, I want to get married and I want you. And it's like, I don't care if you're not ready. Or I mean, there's so many other reasons that you continue to learn yourself as you get older. I mean, this even how Tamika said that, how she used to want to have the last word. I mean, and then where in her communication now is like, well, I don't need a last word. Let's get a solution, you know. And it's like, and maybe you with your spanking, I mean, was like, okay, maybe I wasn't comfortable with asking somebody about spanking at the very beginning. I mean, because there had to be a starting point, right? There had to be something that's like, where somebody said, well, do you like spanking? It's like, where how you say it when you say it versus, oh, you like spanking? Hey, maybe we can try that out. It could be the same response. I mean, but how somebody makes you feel from it is two different things.
Thanks for watching the Get Established show. If you like this week's episode, be sure to check us out here. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification in order to be alerted to up-and-coming episodes. Until next week, this is from Derek Jones. Peace.